We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hello and welcome to See It Clearly. I'm Michael Carson, and you're listening to what Richard and I believe to be Bob Marley singing I Can See Clearly Now. But Richard, you don't feel like it's Bob Marley either. It could be Jimmy Cliff. Is Jimmy Cliff? You think so? Okay. That's 3 Jimmy Cliff. So you listen to Jimmy Cliff. Oh, you did? Oh, so this is definitely him. So Bob, from the grave, I hope you're not making money on this guy. Although I do like this version. Welcome to See It Clearly. I'm your host, Michael Carson. Every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, we're here to discuss a lot of different topics, health, relationships. This week I've got a couple of great friends on the show. The first one is someone I've known for quite a long time, probably since the late 90s, when I was a little pup and still wet behind the ears. Eric Klein. Eric, welcome. Yeah, Eric is...
Good to be here.
It's great to have you here. I'm so lucky to have you here. I've worked with you many years in the Film Actors Workshop in West LA, and Eric is probably one of the best coaches, but he's a therapist too. Because I did do your acting workshops for probably off and on for 7 or 8 years.
Comes from a benefit of having a bad childhood.
Exactly. Well, and I'll tell you, there are 20 people in the class often sometimes, and at the end of the class,
14.
we've all had 14.
Yep.
Well, there's a couple dual personalities in there.
Yeah.
And
we don't count them.
I always felt like I left there with more than just an acting lesson. I learned more about how to talk to my clients, how to deal with personal relationships, and so your acting was more like a personal adjustment to Los Angeles and dealing with people.
Passing on a lot of years of bad therapy.
Hey, that's good.
Yes.
Thank you for spending your money.
You're welcome.
And now I'm
it was my family's money.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was a family neurosis, so
That's
it had to be
fantastic.
treated en masse.
Well, to make sure people know where we're coming from, the Film Actors Workshop has been around, started by Tony Barr back in 1960.
Right.
And you were able to work with Tony for about 10 years.
Yep.
And Tony, unfortunately, he's passed away. He was an older gentleman by the time that I met him, and lived to be 83.
Yep.
83 years old.
82, I think it was.
82.
Yeah,
Yeah, he would have been 83 that year.
Yeah, right.
But he'd had a long, almost 30-year career in broadcast television and helped to
he
create...
was a vice president at ABC and at CBS, in charge of all their nighttime productions. So he did all the classic shows like Dallas and Knots Landing and Lou Grant, and in the heyday of network television.
All the ones that people refer to in comparison to the new ones, saying it's like a
Yeah.
Lou Grant. It's like
Yeah.
the established ones.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason I'm saying this is because Tony handed it off to Eric, and Eric is one of the only people that has been given that torch. I think you are the only person.
I'm it.
You're
I'm
it.
it. Yeah.
You have the torch.
I have the torch.
So when it comes to the Actors Workshop, I wanted to ask you this. I've asked you this off when we weren't on the radio as well. Reality TV showed up about 3 or 4 years into my working with you.
Yeah, my condolences.
I know. We all thought it was going to be here for a very short period of time and leave.
It fooled me.
And
I thought after 9/11 people had enough reality, but it just kept going.
well, I think it's because it's such an easier barrier to celebrity without having the skill set necessary to really act.
It's also cheaper.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
that.
cheaper. And what has it done though to the actor? Now that you have actors that come in going out for roles that there were maybe 20 roles at one time, now there are 3.
Yeah.
How has it changed the way that people are approaching
More
acting now?
pressure. I think people are looking to train faster, if at all. Some people are skipping training and just trying to be discovered, either by doing films or by doing reality shows, and then maybe trampolining off a reality show, hopefully into a film career or something like that. I don't know that anybody, and that's really worked out for anybody very much.
Well, there was that.
because there is this sort of celebrity, but it seems to fade very quickly.
Well, Teen Mom did, but it wasn't the traditional filmography. It was she did pornography.
I rest my case.
Yeah,
Yes.
she didn't end up going to a higher echelon with
and then-
Tribeca Films in any way. No,
Right.
it
It's
wasn't like
hard
that.
to sustain a career in that area too.
But do you think
Your
it's going to
shelf
end?
life is limited.
Are we going through I mean, is it just a longer build than we expected? Are we going to go back to real acting at some point, or is it just all going to be the Truman Show?
There's still lots of real acting going on, and I think even to some degree, the reality television has put even more of a premium on truthfulness in dramatic acting, because people see other people going through real emotional situations. They're edited, of course,
Right.
and intensified that way. But they see how people respond in real situations, and so they don't tolerate, people who are, as Tony would say, dramatizing instead of acting, just showing a lot of emotion for no reason. I was watching today the wife of this poor guy that got killed in the landslide in Tibet because of the earthquake, and she was laughing. She was just going, I had no idea that this would possibly happen, which is diametrically opposite from the way any actress would approach that line. They would
have an
be
intention.
in tears.
Yeah.
No, she'd be in tears. Because
that's the normal progression of feelings.
Crying is acting.
Right.
For most actors, and yet. Wow. Either because she was fighting the tears or because she was still in shock and hadn't really gotten down to that level of feeling yet. She was literally like kind of laughing. It was very disturbing.
It's almost
much
a
more
state of shock more than anything else.
Well, probably.
Yeah, but it was the true emotion coming out of her that was
her thought
was
I can't believe this, and so it'll take her several days, maybe even several months, to work down and process the fact that he's actually gone. Yeah.
And she was
then
with
you'll
him.
have the tears, but they'll be much more meaningful,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's all people process things differently, and I have to say that maybe that's somewhat of a denial in a way too. That this actually happened.
Totally.
Yeah.
We tend not to believe that which we don't want to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me. I've done that. I do it all the time. But when I have a client that's going to climb Mount Everest in October.
Mm-hmm.
Not the whole thing. Is going to do up to, I think, 19,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that this sort of wakes him up. He's not a young guy. But
well, supposedly they're now going to do a route that's less torturous and less
and not as high?
less dangerous. Well, no, it'll be as high, but I think they found an easier way to the top, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe they'll take a helicopter.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
Have you ever been to Hawaii?
If it were me, I would take the helicopter.
I go to the IMAX,
behavior,
the IMAX movie of the helicopter ride, because it's a dangerous part
perfect.
of the world.
Get Cameron to do it. Let him do it.
Absolutely. Cameron's Everest. Although I can't believe has anyone done an Everest? They've done K2. I guess that was the movie that came out for that. But talking about movies, because when we would do the workshops, we would do scenes from movies and television shows that were current. It wasn't as if that we would always do, and we would do some of the classics as well.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be in a contemporary setting as opposed to always trying to put yourself in the 50s or put yourself in the 40s.
Sure.
Although Mad Men's fun to do and stuff like that. But do you find that the newer scripts are harder to find substantial scenes in them compared to in the past? Is the writing dumbed down for the new viewer, which is more looking at their apps and looking in their cell phones, and it has changed at all, or is it sophisticated as it used to be?
I wouldn't say it's dumbed down. I mean, but with the studio pictures, the cliche is if you're making a studio picture, you don't say it, you show it. And because they're very visual, there's a lot of special effects, and they're often brilliantly constructed, and they work brilliantly in their own terms. But, in terms of actual actable scenes, other than the action, which we can't really do, there isn't much for an actor to do. And that's why they tend to feel like the actors in some of those things tend to feel like special effects. But in the independent films, like Whiplash, the rule of thumb is you say it, you don't show it, because you don't have the money to show it.
And so fantastic.
And the script for it is phenomenal.
And you're using that in class now?
Yeah, well, immediately, because I went to see that movie maybe 2.5 months before it came out.
Oh God, that must have been hard, because it's frustrating, that movie, because people didn't see it.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody should go out and see it. It's a wonderful picture.
Absolutely.
And it's by a first-time director, Damien Chazelle, and I think he's only like 26, 27 years old.
I think you're right.
He's brilliant.
And J.K. Simmons, who was the Best Supporting Actor Oscar winner this year, in case you guys don't know what the movie's about, we have an Oscar winner in it. So it's
I went to see it at the Directors Guild because somebody had a SAG screening tickets, and so we went and we walked out of that picture, and I said to my friend, "Well, that's the best supporting Oscar performance there. There's no doubt. There was just no doubt that anybody was going to do anything that would."
And you stuck to your
Simmons.
guns. You actually kept you kept putting this on
Yeah, I
social
kept
media.
trying to get people to watch it because it's such a terrible title that no one would go see it. I think
Right.
you would think it's about a car crash, and then you would walk away. But it's not. It's about so much more.
Larry H.
And-
Parker. I thought it was like an attorney commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
You got whiplash? Call me.
Exactly.
You know, that's how it goes.
And the reason I mention it is the script is, if anything, more brilliant than the movie.
Really?
Because he was writing it and directing it, so he put everything he wanted to see on the page.
Was he a musician himself, or
That I don't know. I don't know what his background is,
Because
other than
it's
the
definitely-
guy is just stone brilliant. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn this into a Damien
No,
Chazelle
I shouldn't say that.
commercial, but
No, but when it
I
comes-
just have so much admiration for what he did, because it's basically a play. It's a 2-character play, and it could have just died on the screen and been claustrophobic and boring, and yet it's just so.
I watched it 3 times, and 'cause
Have you?
I had the screener, so I was able to watch it, and
It's incredible.
you're drawn in immediately, and you don't expect the intensity to be what it is, and it's the most scary movie that isn't a fright movie. It's not a horror
Yeah.
movie, but you have this.
Yeah.
It's remember Officer and Gentleman, of course you remember that.
Sure.
There's the tension between
Yeah.
Richard Gere
Yeah, it's the
and
same
Louis
kind of
Gossett
thing.
Jr. Had a similar sort of a, I need to win your approval. I need to find out if you have enough gut. I mean, it was a great. I love that. I
Yeah.
loved it. But with movies like that don't get enough viewing, and fortunately, the Oscar probably prompted a lot more people to go see it afterwards on pay-per-view or on
Yeah,
demand,
they'll
I hope.
see it on Netflix.
But
or
what about the
something.
one this weekend?
But
we
at
saw?
least to answer your question, there's still great roles being written, and there's still great scenes for actors to play. They just may or may not be the studio pictures that everybody is seeing.
Television's becoming quite intense. I don't know if you've watched some of the shows like The Following or Better Call Saul, which is a new one. This
Yeah.
is a spin-off of Breaking Bad.
Well, this is the thing, and I think part of it is technological, is that, with the advent of computers and computer editing and cameras with fast lenses and digital photography and lightweight lighting equment, it's tempted people who are making series, which I worked on for 9 years, where you have 7 or 8 days to shoot. And the temptation then is to try to equal the quality of a feature film, a theatrical feature film, where you have 2 years basically to make it.
Impossible.
But they're trying, and people are busting their guts and blowing their minds, really trying that. And this is what happened with West Wing. They were shooting, as far as I know, 17 hours a day, every day, trying to make a feature film in 8 days. And some of them killed themselves doing it, and some of them drove themselves into God knows what. But they delivered an amazing series,
Yeah.
which
And Martin Sheen was amazing.
they were all amazing, and the level of writing from the writers was just incredible.
And I didn't realize that, because if you think of 17-hour days, day after day, and I know people say, well, in production there's a lot of sitting around, but that sitting around's exhausting too, because you have to be on and ready to go. It's not as if you're sitting around, lying around at home with your your popcorn watching TV.
It's very tough, and the studio
Yeah.
environment is it's airless, and
and it's several $1 million
they
an
need
episode.
some
some of them, too.
ionizers in there, I think, to perk people up.
I think that if they did the same thing they do at the in Las Vegas, where they pump the oxygen into the room to keep you gambling all night, we could have these actors like meth addicts, working all night, 24 hours a day.
One producer I know kept the studio at 55 degrees because he thought that would energize people, and that when it got too warm, people would slow down.
Well, it does.
So-
It makes people lose weight.
Yeah.
Because you're shivering the whole time.
Yeah.
It's
I think all it actually did was make people incredibly angry.
yeah, because when you're not comfortable, you're agitated.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, they were just walking around going, WTF, and they were like 15 weeks into the season, and they
God.
still couldn't adjust.
So right now, are you working on any series?
Not at the moment. I'm working on post-production of a feature.
Oh, really?
Yes, that one of my friends who was a student brought to me, and it kind of wasn't working, and he said, "Could you just take a look at it, and tell me what you think?" And I said, "Okay, but I know how this is, because." So I'm only going to give you like 2 hours. I'll watch it. I'll give you 2 hours of comments, and
you don't want to get sucked into the vortex.
Yeah.
Is that the
So
worst?
a year later,
Oh man!
And to go back and basically rewrite the entire movie and
but not reshoot.
Reshoots. Yeah.
Oh, you reshoot too?
Yeah, wrote scenes and reshot them and re-edited the whole thing and just basically changed the whole thing around into a whole other picture in a way.
Wow.
It was like found footage. It was taking those same characters and thinking, okay, what kind of a new story can we make out of this? Because the old story just drove people from the theater.
Oh my god. That bad?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, literally 7 minutes in, people started leaving. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about the workshop.
Okay.
Excuse me. Because it's unique compared to most workshops. A lot of people think of acting classes in Los Angeles as a room with a teacher telling you to feel senses and picture yourself in the middle of the beach and you're 14 years old and blah 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 blah.
Right.
It's not like that. This is acting for the camera.
Yeah.
And what it does is this workshop has taught me and taught thousands of people how to not only be on camera but to actually run cameras and to
yeah, that's part of it.
So why don't you give an overview of how the setup is in the workshop?
Well, it's basically very simple. We work by taking scenes from motion pictures through a kind of cycle of cold reading and then rehearsing and taping in a 3-camera video studio. And then we take the DVDs that result from that process and play them back and critique them in detail.
Which is painful sometimes for some of us.
Yeah, but we try to do it with a certain sense of humor and to not demand perfection from people. So that softens the blow.
It does.
And basically we're trying to show them moment by moment what's working and what's not working. And the combination of being able to go to close-up because of the 3 cameras and to edit back and forth so you can see the play of stimulus response gives us a very good look into the listening process that Tony writes about so much in the book and regards as really the heart of the acting process. And a lot of actors like Morgan Freeman agree with him,
Actually, could you tell the quote that Morgan has in the book? Because
he says, if I have a talent for acting, it's because I have a talent for reacting. And reacting only comes from listening. And so this is really his 2 big things. I just heard another quote from him as he said, I'm still working on stillness. He said that and listening are the most important things.
I think for me stillness was the biggest problem.
Yeah, it's funny. This premium on stillness goes all the way back to the early 1900s when D.W. Griffith in the silent films, the first great American director, said that the basic position of the film actor is one of stillness. Is that you were still and then you were released into action by a stimulus. You didn't have to move around the way people do on the stage in order to earn the audience's attention, because when you're in a big head close-up at the Cinerama Dome, where else are they going to look?
Right. And if you move at all, you've lost the intensity and the
well, if you're
direction.
triggered to move or you have an impulse to move, that's fine.
Yes.
But if you're just moving in order to keep the audience interested, then you're dead.
Or that you are, because I've seen a lot of times, and myself being guilty of it sometimes, that you're waiting for your line to come out. So you're just get past your words so I can get to my words.
Well, that's what I call the check-in, check-out syndrome. You check into the scene to say your line, and then you check out, take a little rest, maybe rehearse your next line. And then you sort of vaguely hear the other person stop speaking, so you check back into the scene. It's like doing factory work.
Exactly.
And Tony's whole point is that's not what acting about. Acting is it's all dialogue. It's a continuous process of stimulus and response that you're processing through listening.
Coming back from the commercial, we're going to have just a quick video of you working with one of the actors in the workshop.
Okay. I hope I'm not abusing them too much.
No, you're not abusing them at all. It's not that bad.
Good.
This book, though, Acting for the Camera, is available in a lot of places.
Yep.
And one of them you said is for free.
Well, part of it, I think a good part of it, maybe as much as a third or half of it, is up on the publisher's website, at least it has been, harpercollins.com. And so I guess people could go up there and get a good taste of it and then see if they want to purchase it. It's also at Amazon.
And Kindle and Barnes & Noble.
It's on Kindle and it's Barnes & Noble and Samuel French. It's pretty widely available.
And you can get more information with Eric at filmactorsworkshop.com. And find out all about what to do when it comes to acting for the camera, because it's not just a skill that you have naturally. When you see yourself on camera, you make adjustments. You hold yourself differently. You act differently. It's not just the reacting to the dialogue. It's the image that you're portraying on camera. And you've given me a lot of help, and I still need more. So I'm going to come see you again soon.
Anytime.
All right, thank you guys. You're listening to See It Clearly. My name is Michael Carson. We're going to be right back with Holly Lyons, health and yoga coach.
Life can be a thief without a sound. All my treasures in the ground. No more so long.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
It started out like a totally normal day.
I love you.
I mean, I guess I was a little sweaty and I was definitely sore. I thought I had gas. Turns out I was having a heart attack. Heart disease is the #1 killer of American women. So now I take care of myself and tell the other women in my life to do the same. Make it your mission to save your life and the lives of the women you love. Find out more from the American Heart Association at goredforwomen.org.
My Fit in Seconds video workouts will train your metabolism to use food as fuel, not as storage.
With Fit in Seconds, I lost 27 pounds and 5 inches off my waistline.
It's time to get fit in seconds.
I lost 4.5 inches on my waist. I went down 2 loops on my belt. I've lost 10 pounds.
Hi, I'm Michael Carson, America's fitness coach. Here to teach you how to burn body fat with every meal in only seconds a day. Fit in Seconds is a video workout program designed to accelerate your metabolism, resulting in burning fat with every meal. My Fit in Seconds video workouts will train your metabolism to use food as fuel, not as storage.
With Fit in Seconds, I lost 27 pounds and 5 inches off my waistline.
It's time to get fit in seconds.
I lost 4.5 inches on my waist.
Secrets in silence.
It's not a big deal. No. Look, I just needed to find out what happened to Nancy. No.
There you go. But I just wanted to know what happened to Nancy. Nobody in the hospital seems to care. I doubt that nobody cares. See, I think it's an anticipation of that. And you go, listen, I checked and there have been 10 cases of unexplained coma in young, healthy people. Now, don't you think that's surprising? You see, so and every time you go back for no reason, you're essentially letting him off the hook.
Okay.
You see? And also you're going to drive the camera guy crazy because it's called jackknifing. And every time because under normal circumstances, when you're back, you're going to be in one plane of focus, and when you're forward, in another plane of focus. So they're going to have to rack focus every time you do that. And then the gray hairs are going to stop.
Secrets in silence always have their own way. They will tell you to hide in lies. Padlocks and doorways kept you out from inside. I was sheltering the truth.
Hello, welcome back to See It Clearly. I'm Michael Carson, and you're listening to Ariel Perry, and her husband Adam are going to be on the show next week live, Cinco de Mayo, giving us a live performance. And I have to say, this is a duo that she's a recording artist as a solo artist, but they also do some couples music. That's probably not the way to say it, but they're fantastic, and they will be here singing probably 4 songs next week, and I'd love for you to join us. But right now, joining me in studio is Holly Lyons. Now, you don't know Holly probably, but if you have seen the X Games ever in the last 10 years, you've seen Holly doing some pretty amazing stunts. And if you've watched any movies or TV shows in the last 10 years, you've probably seen Holly doing some pretty amazing stunts. And when I first met her, I watched her actually run across the street and only her feet hit the ground like 2 times, I think. So you do some amazing stuff all the time.
Thank you.
Holly is a health coach, a hot yoga instructor, and one of the top female roller skaters that probably have existed.
Skateboarders.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Totally
I knew it
different
wasn't
sport.
roller skating. I knew it wasn't. I'm just
thank
nervous
you.
having you here. And we also have
thank
our
you.
pups. We have Freeway
We do. And
and we have Rerun. And Rerun is here too because
the
we're
love of
dog
our
friendly
lives.
in the studio. But thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here and really excited to share my story today.
Well, we met in Brentwood. You're on your way to go teach a hot yoga class.
Yep.
And I had no idea when meeting you, you saw my Chihuahua, and I think that my Chihuahua is kind of it distracts people that have dogs. They go, I want to meet the dog too, which is great because we have love for each other. But
Yeah.
you've been an athlete forever. You've been doing, and you told me a little story we were talking about on the phone about when you were very young, you were a volleyball player. And you didn't love it at first, but there was a moment that switched for you that you did love it, and you realized that this might be something that is going to be my career as a professional athlete. Talk to me about that. How did that happen in your life where volleyball turned into a message for your future?
Yeah, when I was really young, I've always loved to play sports, and I just knew when I was really young, like I wanted to be a professional athlete. And you know how sometimes you just know what you know, and you just know it, and it's in your soul. And so I had tried out for volleyball. My freshman year in high school, I'd played Little League softball and other sports and gymnastics and all that kind of stuff when I was young, and rode horses, and did a lot of competitions in those areas. And so I always loved to compete because it felt like you were practicing for that competition. And it gave me purpose. So in volleyball, though, in tryouts, like I wasn't that good. And I'm like, I don't know, I like it, but I don't really like it. I don't seem to really get it. And for some reason, though, the day that we had our, it was a final day, and we had pardon me, let me just put Rerun down there. We had a competition, and so it was like, all the girls competed against the other girls that were trying out. And I don't know what happened to me that day. The coach even said it. She's like, you just came alive. Like, you were amazing. You were like digging, you were serving, you were there, you were doing great. We want you on the team. I don't know what happened, but it was a flip of the switch. And I felt it too, and it was like, I felt like something came over me and just, came through me, and it gave me this ability to all of a sudden just shine. And I was so excited. And so I was on the volleyball team, and I played club volleyball in the off season, and I got volleyball magazines, and I wore volleyball clothes and I was just so excited. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to be a professional volleyball player for the rest of my life. Like, I'm living it, breathing it, sleeping it, dreaming about it, everything. I would run on the track thinking about like my interviews, thinking about the competitions, thinking about traveling. And but then I never got any taller,
Hey, I wouldn't know much about that.
So I'm 5'2". I've been pretty much the same height and weight since I was in 8th grade, which is great. I've always been really healthy, taking good care of myself.
And when was this epiphany in volleyball? Was that 8th grade?
Yeah, well, that was my freshman year in high school. But I never got taller through my high school years, and so there was definitely some challenges. I was a great setter. I was a serving specialist. So I got really good at finding the other person on the team during practice who wasn't as good at receiving serves, and I was really good at like targeting them throughout.
Well, and let's not brush over that, because this is something that a professional athlete learns to do.
Yeah, strategies.
And what you would do is as someone as a freshman or a junior in high school, would be able to go and look at the other teammates during their practice times and find the weak link and pick that person out. So you were a strategist. You were like a chess player on the volleyball team because not many people will do that. They're too busy, especially now, texting or doing something other than looking at the other team to figure it out. So that's impressive.
I was really focused, and I loved it, and it was great because, even at the end of the game, like, they're your friends. I was always excited about people, and it was never like I was competing with other people, but I was always competing with myself, and I always just wanted to be better than I was the day before, and I always wanted to see just how far can I take this? How much better can I get? How much more can I improve? And so even though volleyball ended for me, because I realized once I got past the high school level that there really wasn't a lot of opportunities for me, luckily through that period, I had started skateboarding and snowboarding. And I was like, awesome, I'm short, I'm close to the ground. So if I fall, like, no problem. I'm already, like, you know, close. So I won't get injured as much. I really realized that that was such a blessing, and volleyball taught me so much.
And where did you live then? What part of the country?
I grew up in Walnut Creek, near San Francisco, Northern California.
Gotcha. Which is a real skateboard part of the country. I mean, that's where it's more than Santa Monica, I think.
Yeah, it's a huge, especially San Francisco. You know, there's a lot of street skaters. And when we were young, my sister and I got to be friends with some professional guy skateboarders. So we used to go over there and watch them skateboard. One guy had a mini ramp in his garage. And we would be like, oh, he's cute. He's, you know, whatever. So, you know, you're girls, they're boys. And so we had a great time watching them. And then I realized, like, I want to skate. And one of the guys said, girls don't skate. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, I don't really know, but girls just don't skate. Like, I never see them skate. And I said, well, I'd love to learn. And they thought that was so cool. And it was great because I got a bunch of skateboards. I got T-shirts. They hooked me up with wheels, the whole thing. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what do I do? I was nervous to skate in front of them because they were good. And
so you snowboarded before you were a skateboarder?
Yeah, I did that.
So you had the skills
within
of that.
Within the first couple years, they kind of, I mean, I had my first skateboard when I was in 8th grade. And then when I met those guys in high school, then they hooked me up with a bunch of stuff. And another friend of mine said she'd learn with me. But I was snowboarding as well. I went from skiing to snowboarding. So I was kind of doing a little bit of all of it. You know what I mean? But I really thought I'd be a professional volleyball player. Like, I was really sure of that. And it's interesting that sometimes we have these goals and dreams for us, but the universe has a bigger and a better picture for you. So,
well, you could have been a volleyball coach, and we would have lost all of this other stuff.
Right.
You could have stayed with that, and that would have been, because that's what a lot of people do that can't because of the height. They go into that, but I'm glad that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I stayed open to possibility, and I think that always there's a time, you know, it's good to just stay open and keep doing things that you love. And I felt more drawn to the skateboarding and snowboarding, and I never thought I'd be a professional skateboarder because there really wasn't anything like that at the time, you know.
Not that I remember. No.
But there were female snowboarders, so I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to be a professional female snowboarder. So I really took that energy, that drive, that competitive, you know, nature, and just my passion to, you know, be great at. I always loved to, like, excel through my physical form in sports. You know what I mean? I always felt like you're painting your picture on the canvas of life, so to speak, through your sport. So it was a great transition, and I had so many great learning lessons through volleyball that carried me into snowboarding and skateboarding that I was able to learn from, you know. And
it seems like you have a positive competitive attitude as opposed to a destructive competitive attitude, because you can get competitive with your, like you said, it's yourself that you're competing with, but a lot of times people will put too much on them. So you want to be better than you were yesterday, but you don't look bad at what you did yesterday.
Well, in snowboarding, it's interesting you bring this up, because I noticed in snowboarding I went into the professional competitive arena really fast. So I did the amateur competitions for 1 year, and then I went into the pro circuit.
Did you do the X Games for the snowboarding as well?
No.
Okay.
And this is probably why, because I was really competitive and really excited, but then during competition I would mess up because I think I wanted it so bad. I sabotaged myself.
Yeah.
I did that to myself. I put all this pressure, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'd watch other people, and then I try to, you know, just do stuff for myself. And then in competition, I remember, like, I'd be like, is that method tweaked out enough? Am I doing this as I'm snowboarding? I overthink.
So you have narrative going on as you're doing it, which is too much to do. Your brain can't do those.
Too much.
No, you can't be focused in both directions.
Right. So it was great in practice. People are like, you're going to do so good. And I was like, I felt so confident, but then I overthought in the competition. I still did well. I was ranked top 12 in the world. In Super Pipe for snowboarding. So I did well. But ironically, I did much better as a professional female skateboarder. And again, I never thought that was
You
a
were
possibility.
you were in the top 5 in that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and #1 in the world.
Yeah,
I-
#1 in the entire world.
Yeah.
And there are a few people in the world. Yeah, a couple how many? 7 billion now almost?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're #1. I just don't want to brush over that. That's that's pretty amazing.
I feel really grateful. I mean, there was only about literally a handful of girls around the world that were able to make a living from skateboarding, and I feel so grateful to have been one of them. I think that I had so much love for skateboarding, and because I had kind of sabotaged myself in snowboarding, I moved to Southern California, and I'm like, I'm just going to skate. I guess it's time maybe to grow up and get a real job, and I'll just skate for fun. But luckily, all my snowboard sponsors are like, we'll put you on the skate team. Roxy created a skate team, and I was one of the first 5 girls on it. They paid for us to travel. They paid for us to do all kinds of fun stuff, and really promote and inspire and empower girls through the avenue of skateboarding. And so I think because I loved it so much and I didn't have that pressure that I put on myself, that I did so much better. And skateboarding loved me back, because I honestly just loved to skateboard.
Well, and I watched a lot of your videos, and the enthusiasm and the positive energy that you have towards it, it's different than I see some other people that have this, I don't know if it's a bravado or an intensity that they're trying to project, but that intensity doesn't make you a more competitive athlete. It makes you actually, like you said, like it did for you when you were a snowboarder, it distracts you from the actual thing you're doing. When you're trying to pose and do too many things at once, just be the energy, be the movement, be the flow. And luckily for you, and we talked about this in the pre-interview before, you had braces at one point and have now perfect teeth, and you went through this whole career with your mom biting her hand hoping that you wouldn't lose your teeth, because skateboarding is pretty intense. Let's talk about some of the injuries that you had, because you are obviously, you're okay, you're alive, you walked in here on your own. And you teach how many classes a week now in the hot yoga?
It varies. Usually I was teaching up to 6 classes a week, and now I teach between 2 to 3 classes a week,
And
so
you
a little bit
take
less.
a few, and and the reason I bring it up is because yoga has helped to realign your body from all of the impact that you've thrown it onto, because you would train sun up to sundown and sun up to sundown.
Definitely.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. I mean, what kind of injuries did you have, and are you good to go now? Or do you ever feel like, wow, I never skated at all, or how's your body feeling?
Oh my gosh.
After 5 X Games or 6 X Games?
I competed in 5 X Games, which was so much fun, and traveled to a lot of different countries and got the opportunity to do a lot of different things. And I always played full out. I always went for it. So I had a lot of injuries. I was knocked out for 10 minutes and had a contusion in my brain, which was probably the worst injury because you don't visually see it, but my brain was skipping a lot and I wasn't remembering things, and so that was actually scary.
During a competition this occurred?
No, I overshot a big air jump in Squaw Valley and was knocked out for 10 minutes, and then they put me like in the straitjacket and took me down and brought me to the hospital, and I don't remember anything. And I couldn't snowboard for a couple. That was a snowboard injury, but I couldn't snowboard for a while because of that. And then 3 weeks later, though, I went snowboarding and tore my ACL the second day out. So the universe was like, slow down. Because I was so excited. I wanted to go 1,000 miles an hour. And then in skateboarding, I chipped my tailbone. I've broken bones in my fingers and in my toes. I broke my navicular bone in my wrist, so I had a cast up to my my armpit. I had reconstructive surgery on my hand, chronic back pain, which was really challenging to deal with. So I went to the chiropractor a lot, and I started being a chiropractor hopper because a lot of them would be like, stop skateboarding, you need to take time off. And I remember thinking, well, I don't know what else I would do with myself. Like, I love to skateboard. I live to skateboard. My life revolves around when I skateboard and my friends that I'm going to skateboard with. So I just couldn't imagine not doing it. And it's always beautiful, perfect weather in Southern California. So
unfortunately,
it was hard.
there's no excuse not to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would always be like, I'll take tomorrow off. And I didn't really take that time off to allow my body to heal. So just, lots of injuries, scars, bruises. I had swellbow, but my elbow's a lot better now, and just a lot of chronic pain. But I really used mind over matter, and told myself I can do it, and it worked for a long time. But then sooner or later, my body did start to really let me know, like, we need some TLC. And that's when I had severed a tendon in my wrist, and my thumb didn't work at all. So I couldn't do backside airs and grab. And when I was in the shower shampooing, it was like I just had this thumb that was in the way. But I had no pain, and which was interesting. And when I went to the doctor, he's like, you totally severed it. We have to do reconstructive surgery. And for me, that was like the wake up call of like, Holly, you have so many injuries. You really need to address how bad your body really feels right now. I loved my sport so much, and I was so grateful for all those years. But I really realized, okay, I need to start looking at some other things in life. And I was also at a point too where I was excited to start experiencing different things, and I'd started a clothing company to give back to younger girls and inspire and empower girls on or off their skateboard to really just believe in themselves and know that they could accomplish anything that they want to in their life.
What'd you call what was the apparel line called?
It was called Skate Girl.
Skate Girl. Yeah.
So SRL or SK8GRL. So just abbreviated, and it was like a little logo with a girl with little heart eyes and crossbones. So it was like, I'm a girl that loves to skateboard. I'm a skate girl. And it was fun. Really did well for a couple years. We worked with Warner Brothers and Supergirl. I had distribution in VK Skates, which is California's largest distribution company, and I was the only girl brand, along with being the only female brand in a lot of skate and surf shops in Encinitas and Carlsbad, where I was living. So it was awesome, and I thought, this is great. This will be what I do for the rest of my life. And then around 2009, 2010, when the economy went down, retail economy as well.
Changed.
Yeah, so everything changed, but that brought me to LA. So I moved to LA to just kind of check out different opportunities. I was doing a lot of TV hosting work along with skateboarding.
And stunt double work too.
And stunt double work in TV. So I was like, cool, I'm just going to go up and I'm going to be in Hollywood and I'm going to, see what's possible. And so I moved up here.
It couldn't be any more painful than what you were going through physically.
Right,
What I mean? Seriously, if you can overcome that with positive attitude, LA is an easy thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I've been loving living here. So the first week I moved up here, I met a girl who was an athlete and a TV host, and she was also a health coach. And so we got to be friends. We went hiking at Runyon Canyon. We started hanging out, and she's like, you should look into being a health coach with me, and along with, being a TV host and doing stunt double work, or seeing if you can get more television work. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started doing that, and we work with nutrition plans. And so what was amazing for me is I still had a lot of physical pain and daily back pain, and I was taking ibuprofen all the time because I just didn't know what to do.
Which you don't want to rely on.
No, and I was eating clean, I was eating organic, but my back still hurt, and it was amazing because when I got started on a nutrition plan with her, within the first couple weeks, like literally 10 years of back pain was alleviated, and my body didn't hurt.
So it was an anti-inflammatory type of a diet then, obviously, that was reducing inflammation that was causing some of the pain, or what do you attribute that to?
Well, it's cellular nutrition, so I think it's nutrition that helps your body be healthy on a cellular level. So it's really helping my cells to, reproduce at a healthier state and for my body to absorb nutrition better. I started learning about the importance of nutrient timing and balanced nutrition, which made just a huge difference.
Well, go into nutrient timing, if you would, because nutrients, I know what it is, but for the listeners, they might not know. Explain nutrient timing.
Okay, so our body is kind of like a fireplace. We eat food for a couple of reasons: to sustain the body, also as energy, to be healthy. So we want to eat every couple of hours. So just like how we put a log in the fireplace, the fire uses up the log as energy to burn the fire, and every couple of hours you have to throw another log in there in order to keep the flame going, in order to keep the fire burning. And our body's the same way. So in order to keep our metabolism burning throughout the day, it's ideal to eat every 2 to 3 hours. But most people think, especially in America, we're always there's this message of eat less and then you'll lose weight and be healthier. But actually, right, I think we all have.
Yeah.
And but most people tend to be not tend to be getting as much food as they need, and their body's malnourished, so their body actually goes into survival state and stores fat to survive longer.
And they may be eating a lot of calories, but not a lot of nutrients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the importance of balanced nutrition. So it's important to eat every 2 to 3 hours, and obviously breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And so many of my clients that I talk to tend to skip breakfast or have...
Could you imagine?
Right.
How do you skip breakfast? I mean, I couldn't make it. I would be one... Well, actually, I've been on the freeway with those people who have skipped breakfast because they're agitated, they're ornery, they're not focused. They might have their cup of coffee, but that's artificial stimulant that's going to actually take some of their water out and make their metabolism slow down. So I can't skip breakfast.
Exactly. And I was one of those people who did have a cup of coffee in the morning, and I thought, okay, this is going to get my energy going, and then I'd eat breakfast. But once I learned really about what coffee does to your body, like you said, it dehydrates your body. And so we wake up and our body's dehydrated and malnourished. So that's why it's important to eat within the first 30 to 45 minutes of waking up.
Yeah.
But when we have coffee, it's dehydrating a dehydrated body. So then if you have injuries like I did, it constricts the blood flow. So now any injuries you have are going to hurt more because you have less blood flow helping to heal the injury.
And you won't actually heal as efficiently because you don't have the hydration level necessary to replenish on top of the... Well, and that's... Actually, let's see. We're going to break? I think I hear the music. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard music. Forgive me. We're going to continue this conversation when we come back. You're listening to See It Clearly. I'm Michael Carson. And this is Adam and Ariel singing a Labyrinth cover. They're going to be here next week for Cinco de Mayo, and I really hope you join us for that. We're here every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, on LA Talk Live exclusively. We're going to be right back with Holly Lyons, and take a listen.
But that won't scare me away, oh no. You've carried on so long, you couldn't stop if you tried it. You built your wall so high that no one could climb it. But I'm gonna try.
Would you let me see beneath your beautiful? Would you let me see beneath your perfect? Take it off, no good. Take it off, no good. I wanna see inside. Would you let me?
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hey everybody, it's your man Sabir Bey back on your airwaves, inviting you to join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Sabir Bey Show, discussing history, law, and hip-hop. Every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Sabir Bey Show, exclusively on latalklive.com. You also can catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch us and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
I went down 2 loops on my belt. I've lost 10 pounds.
Hi, I'm Michael Carson, America's fitness coach. Here to teach you how to burn body fat with every meal in only seconds a day. Fit in Seconds is a video workout program designed to accelerate your metabolism, resulting in burning fat with every meal. My Fit in Seconds video workouts will train your metabolism to use food as fuel, not as storage.
With Fit in Seconds, I lost 27 pounds and 5 inches off my waistline.
It's time to get fit in seconds.
I lost 4 pounds.
Women now make up 37% of the workforce, changing their role forever.
Harvard Medical School has now opened its doors to new female applicants.
The first woman is now in space.
The majority of last year's doctorate degrees were earned by women.
We've come so far, but our news is changing for the worse. More women die from heart disease and stroke than men, even though it can be prevented. Make a change at GoRedForWomen.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women.
What is Skate Girl?
It's a line of clothing that
even ranked #1.
So much. It just goes to show, like, what a cool sport skateboarding.
What's your secret? Don't give them away. When everything comes back to hurt you anyway.
Hey, welcome back to See It Clearly. I'm Michael Carson. I'm here with Holly Lyons. Before we get back to the interview, though, I want to talk about a few things. This is Off the Ground by Ariel. You can get this at iTunes. They're going to be here next week, singing live in studio. You're going to want to make that happen, so please be here 1 o'clock next week Pacific. And also this Saturday, if you're going to be around in Universal Studios, I'm going to be working on an event. I'll be working on the over-the-top 24-story rappel for the Esophageal Cancer Action Network. I'm going to be doing the part of the MC where I'm actually talking about the people coming down from the rappel, the money that they've raised, the stories that they have. It's an exciting event. It's in Universal City, and we're raising awareness and money for the stopping, hopefully, of esophageal cancer. It's one of the few cancers that is completely preventable. I've lost family members and friends to cancer, and not esophageal cancer. And unfortunately, it was cancers that couldn't be stopped, but this one can. So if you can join us, it's going on from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. on Saturday. I'll be there from 12:30 to 4 p.m. as an MC, helping everyone come down from that top of the roof. I've done some high rappels before. It's exhilarating. It's exciting. You should be there, and hopefully you will. Also, if you want to catch me Saturday mornings, you can come to my class at Equinox in Marina Del Rey and take my cardio core class. It's in Marina Del Rey Equinox, 10 a.m.s if you want to join. Now we're back with Holly again. Holly, we were talking about how the pain in your back and the pain from your injuries when you met this health coach in Los Angeles, which you probably didn't expect to come down to L.A. and get rid of your pain, helped you with some nutritional guidelines. And let's go back to talking about that.
Yeah, I was just blown away at how important nutrition is and how much it can really allow your body to heal itself, you know, because that's really what's happening. And when I got started on my cellular nutrition plan, it just changed my body so much. I lost 10 pounds in my first, or I lost 6 pounds, in like about 2 weeks, and lowered my body fat about 7.1% in 6 weeks. So that was amazing. Yeah, really through just changing
Came down
my diet.
So it wasn't 7.1 now, it came down?
No,
okay.
7.1% from where it was. And at the time, I wasn't skateboarding a lot. Like I said, I had moved to LA. My body was injured. So I was kind of just taking a rest from doing a lot of activity. So it was amazing that all of a sudden I'm eating more, but I'm eating the right stuff. And I'm eating more consistently throughout the day. And it allowed my metabolism to run better, like a fire burning a lot better, and allowed my body to burn body fat and build muscle mass. So I was losing weight, leaning out, and toning up.
You streamlined your metabolism.
Yeah.
And during the skating, because I remember we were talking before that you would go hours and hours and hours and skate. So you weren't eating. You weren't eating enough food. You weren't drinking enough water. You were doing basically the opposite of what your body needed to sustain all of those impacts that you were having. So it's a great thing that you can be older than you were in your sport, but healthier because your body does regenerate. We're the most regenerative machine that exists, and the fact that you've been able to do that cellularly, not just muscularly, because people look at their physique and they think, well, what does my bicep look like? What does my waistline look like? Doesn't matter if your cells look like hell, right? So your cells are vibrant and excited and continually replicating, and that's what's going on with this.
Yeah, it's been amazing and life-changing for me, and I just felt better, like mentally. I felt more clear. I had a better sense of well-being. I got off of taking ibuprofen every day, about 2.5 weeks on my nutrition plan. I never take ibuprofen anymore. Wow. Even if I get a headache, I'll drink water. I'll try to give it time or eat something, and I notice it goes away. But my back pain went away, and that was amazing because when I'd go to the chiropractor, they would tell me like I really need to take a break because of how out of line my back was.
Didn't one doctor tell you that he's never seen anyone walk?
Yeah,
that had this type of. I mean, come on, share that story.
So I definitely think I have a high pain tolerance because one chiropractor was like, wow, they did the scans, and it's like when you're in the green on your vertebrae, your upper, middle, and lower spine is in line, everything's fine. And then it's like the orange, yellow color, it's like warning, red is like really bad. And he's like, you're in the black in your upper, middle, and lower back. He's like, I've never seen this. Like, you're beyond red.
Your back wasn't even there yet.
He goes, I don't even understand how you're walking. And I said, yeah, I'm in a lot of pain. But I really did a lot of meditating on my mind and really knowing that my mind is the vehicle of my body and that my body is just a vessel for my mind to then be able to express in the physical world.
Kind of like a Tibetan monk. I mean, that's what they do. They psychologically remove whatever pain or that's pretty intense to do that.
It was pretty amazing. And it's funny you said that because the other day a friend came over and I was saving a spider, and then I saved this other bug that was in my house, and he's like, are you Buddhist? And I said, no, but I believe that every creature, human, every living, being has the right to live out its full potential. It's not my right to kill it. So I try to save everything.
Eric, who was here before you, we went to lunch last week and we were talking because I had a bolognese pasta, which is red meat, and I was thinking if I had to kill myself in order to eat meat, I don't think I'd be eating a lot of meat. If I can't see myself killing a turkey or stomping a chicken or taking down a cow, it's amazing what we will eat because I don't know if you're a vegetarian or not, but I'm not. I wish I was, but it's just hard to imagine that. But we're running out of time. I want to make sure we do talk about Runway and his association with your product line and talk about that because I thought it was so cute.
Yeah, Rerun. He's awesome. So when I was a professional skateboarder, it was so awesome. Like, a company came to me and they asked me if I wanted to have my own shoe. So at the time, no girls had their own shoe. There was one girl that had, and
it was high heel though.
No, skateboard shoe.
That's a joke.
And so, it took me a couple days because I was like, wow, like, this is huge. I feel so grateful. And so I was, I said, of course, yes. And it was a Canadian company named Power Shoes. And so they had a guy street skater, a guy vert skater, and they wanted me as their girl. And so they said, you've got such a great reputation. You really inspire girls. You're feminine. You're marketable. Like, we love everything that you're doing. And I had an Ask a Pro page where I answered questions from girls and boys around the world for 4 years. I did a lot of...
Which is awesome. I forgot to bring that up. Say that again. She actually had a page that was for people that were trying to become what she was, to answer questions for. And to have your mentor be able to talk to you. Awesome.
And that was so fun. Like, I volunteered. I spent a lot of time, though, really thinking about answers that'll inspire them and get them excited about whatever they were were asking me. And I love to give back. And I spoke at a lot of schools, a lot of middle schools, inspiring kids. I did a lot of coaching. I coached and volunteered, did all this stuff for free because I just loved what I was doing. I felt like this was my way to give back to what I loved so much and help other people. So the shoe company just was like, you're such a great role model that we really want you to promote our brand. And I said that would be great. So then we started designing the shoe, and they said, okay, we want you to have an icon. What do you want it to be? Kind of like your Nike swoosh. And I said, oh my gosh, my Chihuahua. Like, there was no thought in my mind. So Rerun was the bottom, was the icon for the Holly Line signature shoe. It was called Rerun. And on the bottom of each shoe, you had half of this caricature Chihuahua sitting in a spiked collar, because now that he's older, he has a harness, but he used to have a spiked collar, and he's got his little button face and his little pointed ears, and then the spiked collar kind of pointed down, and it was the cutest thing. And you got a keychain with each pair of shoes, and then they also had stuffed animals. They made t-shirts, tank tops, and sweatshirts, and it was the coolest thing ever. And my shoe was sold in a Canadian, kind of like a Foot Locker. There was 142 stores, and my shoe outsold both of the boys' shoes 2 years in a row, which was awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and it was just so cool to know that like a lot of girls were really excited and inspired. And one of my friends who was a team manager from another shoe company that I used to ride for was in Yugoslavia, and he contacted me and he's like, Holly, oh my gosh, he's like, I wish you were here because you are plastered all over this skate shop. Like, you are the star of this shop. Like,
did
your
you get
shoes
pictures of it?
are doing great. No, he didn't.
Oh.
I know.
What is that?
He just sent me a message, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I didn't even think of it at the time, but I have a lot of posters. I had a life-size poster of me, all kinds of fun stuff that they made. So it was such an honor, and I have a bunch of shoes that I still have. And I always feel like Rerun's so humble. He, has no idea how famous and amazing he is.
Well, the thing is, though, that our Chihuahua, because I have a Chihuahua too, they're just endless sources of happiness for you. It's like when at the end of a hard day, no matter what's going on, it's like sitting there, just look at my hand now. It's just a happy dog. So you're very lucky. Mine's only 4. Yours is a little older, though, huh?
Yeah. He's getting up there, but he's doing great, and I'm so grateful for every day, and so grateful that, I was one of 3 girls that ever had their own shoe, and I had my own skateboard pro model as well. And Rerun got to come with me and travel with me to a lot of different contests. And
so cool.
Yeah, and just be there and be
so you've
awesome.
Seen it all. You've seen it all, Runway.
He's traveled all over.
Well, we are. Wow, that went fast today. Man. And a couple plugs before we're done here. Holly, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to have you come back if you're okay with that. These hours go by really fast. But if you want more information from Holly, you're going to go to hollylyons, LYONS.net, and you can find all the information you need from her. And if you want to get in touch with Eric Klein, you can go to filmactorsworkshop.com, or you could pick up his book, Acting for the Camera, either at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. And next week, we're going to have a live performance from Ariel and her husband, Adam Perry. But this weekend, please join me at the Esophageal Cancer Action Network 24-story over-the-top rappel. I'll be doing the emceeing for the event from 12:30 until 4 p.m. and hope to see you there. Richard, I think we have to go. This went way too fast. Thank you guys for listening. This is See It Clearly. My name is Michael Carson. We're here every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. You can also use us directly on your mobile phone. If you go on to latalklive.com to the browser, press Listen Live, and you can listen to whatever's on air live or go through the archives and find whatever you'd like to hear. Once again, this is See It Clearly, and I'm Michael Carson. Have a great week.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.